So without further ado, please help me give a warm welcome to James Castillo from Mexico.
Whoa, too many people. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to have received the invitation to address a conference with a mission as noble as that of the North American Rotary Exchange Network. Buenas tardes. Es un placer para mí haber recibido la invitación para dirigirme a una conferencia con una misión tan importante y tan noble como la de la Red Norteamericana de Intercambios Juveniles. Creo que estas son las primeras palabras en español que se pronuncian en este foro y es un orgullo para mí pronunciarlas, ya que, como todos sabemos, México con su cultura, con sus tradiciones y con su idioma es también un miembro de Norteamérica. I believe these are the first words in Spanish to be pronounced in this stage, and I'm very proud to pronounce them because, as we all know, Mexico, with its traditions, its culture, and its language, it's also an equal member of North America. As you might already figure out, I'm from Mexico. I am from the northwestern part of my country, from District 4100. I am specifically from the oldest club in this district, Club Rotary Tijuana, and that's my city, Tijuana, just in the border between the US and Mexico. An interesting place to be in these moments, right? So I'm here today to talk about what my exchange has meant to me, and I like to think of my exchange as an special experience, something that went far from the ordinary and reached the extraordinary. When I was on exchange, I was able to be admitted at the University of Warsaw in Poland. I was specifically chosen to collaborate with PhD students and Master of Science in the Biomolecular Machines Laboratory in the Center of New Technologies. Over there, I was developing research at the doctorate level. I was working on the peptide nucleic acid as antibacterial compounds. With my work, I participated in the Intercollegiate Biotechnology Symposium, which was a competition between Master of Science students and PhD students. And I was able to win the second place in this competition. That this could not be possible without the support from Rotary, from the whole organization, and from the support of the University of Warsaw as well. It's a great success for me because I was the only high school student participating, and of course the only Latin American. But I believe that this achievement was really something meaningful because it allowed me to realize the great value of research and the real meaning it has. And it made me know now for sure that I want to study medicine, that I want to go further and complement it with research and try to develop new surgical procedures that are not invasive and that are low cost, that can be applied in my community. But this is not what really made my exchange as meaningful as it was. I believe exchange goes way beyond my experience in the laboratory or meeting new people or getting to know a new country. I believe that the exchange program, it's rich because it allows you to have a personal experience with the essence of your country, of your host country, and the uniqueness of your fellow exchangers. And from these two experiences, I was able to construct two lessons that have completely changed my perception of humanity, of the world, of Rotary, and of myself. And here is where I see the value of this experience that you facilitate for so many students. So the first lesson I gained from my experience is related with people. So I came to my exchange with the idea that we are all taught in schools and that we all can see reflected in our religion, that as humans we are all the same. And I believe this to be a universal truth, and I think we all believe that. And with this awareness, I came to Poland. I went to Poland, and when I arrived, I started to live along with 50 more students from different nationalities. And at the beginning, I proved myself right. I realized that we were all the same. We were all teenagers. We were all struggling in life to find a meaning, a purpose for our lives. But then, as months started to pass by, I started to realize that in reality, we were not that similar. I started to realize that as I got to know them better, that we were really different. We were not the same. And don't get me wrong, we all are equals and we have the same value, but we were not the same. And it made perfect sense because we were all born in different circumstances. We all had different backgrounds. We had different ideals and we had different dreams. We had different thoughts. We did things differently. And we expressed love in completely different ways. But as months continued to pass by, I started to think about it because I was very upset because I love this universal truth that we are all the same. And the experience that was meant to reaffirm this knowledge wasn't doing it. So I was very upset, and the following months I started to think about it. And as I thought about it more, I realized that all these points of contrast were in fact where our greatest similarities reside. Because yeah, we didn't have the same backgrounds, but we all had an origin. We all had an identity. We had different ideals, but we all had noble goals. We had different dreams, but we all knew that things could be improved. We had different thoughts, but we all had imagination. We did things differently, but we were always doing something. We expressed love in different ways, but we were all capable of loving each other. And what makes us more humans than the capacity to love each other and love itself is the greatest argument for peace. And that is why we, the exchange students, despite the voices of hate that are being pronounced from the higher position of power in the world stage, we, the exchange students, we still believe in peace, we still believe in love, and we remain ambassadors for peace. But peace is not enough. Peace by itself, it's not ideal. It has to be complemented with collaboration, because when we put all those points of contrast together, when we achieve international collaboration, that leads to greater achievements, like the eradication of polio. Collaboration within peace is the real meaning of Rotary. That's the identity. Because at the end, what else is Rotary if not a project of international collaboration under the white peace flag? This is the first lesson that I gained from my experience as an exchanger. The second experience, the second lesson, it's related with my country. Because when we think about exchange, when we think about the concept, we all think about a new country. We all think about getting to know a new culture. And it's right. I came to Poland, and in Poland, I was able to realize and to experience a huge amount of different things that were completely different from my country. And I was able to feel and experience the environment. I was able to experience the weather. I was able to feel and to see the golden leaves fall in autumn, and I was able to see and feel the coldest snow fall into my face. I could experience the rebirth of nature after winter, and I could celebrate that rebirth with my Polish family, following the Polish traditions. And I filled myself with joy about something that I could not see in my country, in Mexico, because in Mexico we give nature for granted, and in Poland it was the opposite. It was a huge celebration just to have leaves on the trees again. I was able to realize how things were done differently in different places. I was able to visit a huge number of Polish cities, but more importantly, I was able to get to know the greatness of the people that live in those cities. I was able to try new food, and in every savor of that food, I was able to feel and see hundreds of years of tradition. I was able to learn a new language, and in every word, I could see the evolution of a society. I was admired by the rich history that Poland has, and I was admired by the rich religion that they profess. But I was even more astonished when I realized how they were able to strengthen their faith despite all the suffering that they had to endure as a society through their history. I found myself in a country that lost it all because of the hate of others. And I also found myself in a country that took that situation as an opportunity to redefine itself, to rebuild itself, to literally reconstruct its capital city, because it was completely burned to the ground by the armies of hate. Walking through the streets of Warsaw, I was able to visualize the chapters of history that took place there. I was able to find in every musical note and in every silence of Chopin's compositions the feeling of a nation, the healing of a nation. I fell in love with Poland. I realized how great Poland is. I fell in love with its culture. I fell in love with its traditions. I fell in love with its people. I fell in love with Poland. But the discovery of a new country is not what makes the program as successful as it is. Because hundreds of students, just like me, go to hundreds of other countries, just like Poland, and all of them, in most of the cases, fall in love with their host countries. So the real success is within ourselves. We, the exchange students, are the constant in this equation of exchange. We are the real success. Getting to know a new country, it's only the means to the authentic end of this program, which is self-discovery. Exchange represents leaving everything you are familiar behind. When I arrived to Poland, I arrived without my family. I arrived without my culture or without my language. Exchange is the situation where the only thing you are familiar with is yourself. And after 1 year of being only with yourself, you realize that you didn't even know yourself that well. As months pass by, you discover new abilities you didn't know you have within your heart. The greatest value of exchange is the possibility that it gives you to be alone with yourself for 1 year and discover who you really are. Discover your essence. Discover your human essence, and realize that to make great, valuable contributions to our community, from science or from any other field, all we really need is our humanity. Thank you all. Muchas gracias.